Hi everyone, in this episode, we are bringing you another startup, a very interesting one. This time, a startup which is using a fleet of drones to create a surveillance system. And we have with us Prem Sai. He completed his bachelor's from IIT Delhi in 2018 with engineering physics degree. And now he is working on this super exciting startup. So, welcome Prem Sai on this episode. So tell us more about what exactly Vecros is trying to do right now.
We are trying to save lives and money if it's in the bigger picture. But exactly, we are trying to make factories more safer, factories or industrial plants, or or maybe your oil and gas pipelines. So everything that is remote from existing day-to-day life, and which is very crucial for sustaining existing day-to-day life. So we are making them safer by using drones, where we use a fleet of drones to monitor different parameters like pipe leakages, corrosion, and if there is any intrusion on the pipelines, especially in oil and gas or petrochemical companies, or in some steel factories and cement factories where if you take example of Chernobyl or a recent one in India, LG Polymers gas leak, they were all due to because of human error in inspections. They were not able to communicate any different types of faults effectively to their management or decision taking body. So because of that time gap or delay, accidents happen. And to prevent that, we have made a real time system. So drone flies, it scans an area, it live feeds entire feed that you're seeing, and it is analyzing on its own. So that's in short what we do.
Yeah, that sounds a very interesting one. So I know you have been working on drones and you started Aeromodeling Club at IIT Delhi in your second year. So tell us how your journey started from there and what ideas you got, whatever you tried and whatever failed, and how you eventually get here what you have.
It's a pretty big story, but the iteration factor was constant. Yeah. So in my fourth year, while it was a placement time, I was offered a IRD student startup action plan. So in which I pitched a drone to monitor warehouses. Back then, drones were a trend, and they were getting very hype. I thought warehouses can solve so many cycle count issues using our drones. So then I pitched this idea. Then I was granted some amount to work on the R&D. From then I eventually skipped the placements to pursue this as full time. So then I started working on that, and then my Professor Shubhendu Basin from electrical department was an expert on drones, and he had this state-of-the-art facility, especially in IIT Delhi, under his control. So I started learning mathematics and different control algorithms, what goes into drones. And then eventually the product that I tried, the warehouse things, I found that I lack a lot of skills when it comes to making these drones autonomous. So then I pursued a fellowship for 1 year under the prof itself, where I acquired a lot of skills. And then I met my co-founder also there, Hanish. He was pursuing his MTech under the prof, and he's kind of topper of the class. So we both work together on different types of drones and how to make them autonomous. So then we learned how to use computer vision to make drones autonomous. So just like how humans navigate using our using our eyes, now we have attached different camera systems to the drone. Now it sees the world as humans see, and then it navigates. So there, after graduation itself, I got whatever the skills I needed to start my startup or actually solve the problem in the field. So there, after that, then in 2020, I incubated a startup at IIT Delhi itself to learn more on the business aspect and how to take this deep technology startup forward. So there, I got a lot of assistance, and also we used a lot of labs. from IIT Delhi, and which May there was COVID, and then we have to stop for like 2-3 months, and then we resumed from August. So right now we are here. Yeah.
Yes. So how did you validate that whatever you are creating is what is needed by the clients? Like, how do you go about to that process?
Well, there are clues always. First we saw competitors. I mean, like existing players, what they are doing from the product perspective, how they are solving the problem, and we track the business use cases. Like if they are using autonomous solution, what is it translating into business parameter? Why it has to be autonomous? Why can't a person go and fly the drone? So it has to be autonomous. So you can save a lot of cost on human pilots, and they are very high in demand and very less in supply. That's one business parameter that we tracked. And then why to use computer vision? Why not just rely on GPS? GPS is available everywhere in the world, and we can just mount a GPS module and fly the drone. So then we found that in oil and gas or other factory setting, there are a lot of metal involved, and GPS gets interfered, and a drone can't fly or get enough good signal to fly. So there we need this computer vision or different type of technology to develop. And then we talked to different people from the industry. I just reached out in LinkedIn. And then there is this website from India, startupindia.com. There I went through different challenges. Right now, companies in India are looking actively to participate or co-create with startups by posting their problems as challenges or competition. I mean, they're arranging some competitions like different companies do. There, different startups compete and then they pitch the problem, and so that's where we met this Sterlite Technologies Limited. It's India's biggest optic fiber manufacturing company. So they posted this problem, preventive surveillance, and they exactly stated that they take a lot of time and money when they involve humans, or and there is a lot of administrative mishaps or paperwork involved. So they wanted an autonomous system that they can monitor from their comfort of their office.
So did you win that competition?
Yeah, we won the competition.
Yeah.
So we came runner-up, but not for the. I mean, it was a 5 problem statements. I mean.
So was this competition your first client? Would you say that?
Yes. So we done a lot of proof of concepts with them.
Okay. And have they helped you meet other clients? What's your current status?
No, actually, they help to refine the product. That I can say. I mean, being in touch with. Looping, keeping the customer in loop always helps in refining the product, what they want, and sometimes they ask a lot from your product, but it's good to have a third eye perspective and keep your parameters and just use their feedback as validation, and then you take that solution and go to different customers and then see if the parameters are fitting or not, and then tweak according to that. So yeah, they help to define the problem statement or understand the problem statement at core, what's lagging in the current solution. But when we meet other clients, their specifications are somewhat different, but the core problem is same. They want to save time and money for all these inspection tasks.
So you said that you looked at your competitors to determine what market wants. So usually when people enter and start doing any startup, enter into this field, they usually look for ideas where there are no competitors at all. So why did you use this where there? Okay, let me rephrase my question. So are you thinking those competitors were easy to beat and you have that technology right now? And why did you choose this? Like, despite there's a competition in the market of this already.
Okay. First of all, I don't believe that no competition exists. Whatever problem is available in the world is already solved by people in their own way. It might be not efficient or it might be not effective enough, but it's solved in some or different way. So that's I believe. And if I want to give an example, the problem of connectivity, people talking to each other, is solved in different number of ways. So one way is to have a Facebook account and a chat. Another way is to have a Google Meet or a Zoom Meet, talk face to face. But when the technology just started, cell phones were the one which solved this problem of connectivity, making people connected. It was, I mean, it started from post or like people were writing letters and it took days, and then cell phones came, it took minutes or hours, and then Facebook came and it became seconds. So the technology changes the way, I mean, like it is built on top of each other. So maybe the approach might be very different, but the problems are same and the solutions already exist. Um, uh, so the cell phones have to compete with letterboxes, and so I mean, I in my view, I mean, competitors means the people who are already solving the problem in their own way. But if we present it entirely different way or a different solution, the market is ready to take it. So that's how I see.
Okay, so now I understand. By competition, you mean there's somebody else somewhere solving the same problem, but your USP is the way you are solving it, and you believe no one is solving it the way you are.
Yes.
So, right now, is surveillance the primary problem that you are working on, or are there other areas also which you are trying to like get into?
Yeah, currently the focus is on surveillance itself, um, especially how to make it very quick uh, and reliable and safer for the clients. Solve that problem first, and then diversify into different areas.
So, within surveillance, also any particular market segment, any particular type?
Yeah, warehouses and petrochemical.
So, briefly tell us about the technology. How is it actually detecting the leaks in the warehouses, and how you are using the technology for the petroleum industry? Can you elaborate a bit more on your technology?
Yeah. So it's simple image or object detection algorithm that we have trained in house. I mean, like it goes to a location and then it recognizes the leak or different type of fault. I mean, like we built algorithm in such a way that you can just export model into the algorithm, and suddenly it will become. I mean, for suppose if you are in pipeline leak detection, so then we have already trained different image data on that leakages, and then we have inventory of models that are available with us. So you select, I mean, from if you are the user, you select I want to detect pipeline leakages. So you select that setting, and then you say, okay, go drone, now you go and detect this anomaly. So drone takes off on its own and it goes there, and then it runs this image recognition model, and it raises an alarm. It's simple as that.
I'm just curious, like pipeline leakages might happen with no significant evidence in terms of visuals, you know? So if a person goes there, he might smell something or he might hear something, and I don't know if drone can provide those capabilities. So visually, it might not be, a very good signal. So what do you say about that?
Okay, yeah. So for that we have a thermal camera also. So drone is mounted with a thermal camera where it sees thermal signature of the area. If there is a leakage, obviously the pressure changes and temperature changes according to the pressure while it is leaking out. So with that temperature change, we can raise an alarm saying, okay, now it is rising here. I mean, there is some anomaly regarding different temperature. So it might be leakage or it might be some other thing. So then user can just go and check. I mean, he can send a maintenance engineer, and if there is any problem, then they can solve it.
So you recently got funded by 1000x VC. Tell us about that process. Like, how did you approach them, and how did you decide that this one is right for us? This has the right mentors or the right vision for our startup. How did you go about all that funding process?
Yeah. So well. 100x VC just started in 2019, I guess, January maybe. So then Sanjay Mehta, investor of Foyer Rooms, got a very big exit, and then he announced this 100x VC, saying, okay, he wants to invest in early stage startups, especially tech-driven startups, which take a lot of time. And also at the same time, 2018, say, there was this boom for deep tech startups from India. There is a company called Skyroot. It's in rocket technology, just like they are building SpaceX version for CubeSats. So from then on, the deep tech thing has taken the trend. So where the maturity time or the go to market is very high, and you need to build the product first, and then you need to reach the customers after that. So then on, I was tracking them, 100x VC, and I was seeing their portfolio companies, how they are selecting people. And then I also studied different investors involved in them. So they are like more or like same as Y Combinator of India. So they invest through safe agreements. They invented their own called iSafe agreements. India's simple, I can't get the acronym, but it's a safe agreement. It's a instrument that a lot of people are right now using to invest in startups, and your money gets wired in just 2 days. No lawyer diligence or other accountant related paperwork. The moment you sign the term sheet, and it's done online itself, within 2 business days, amount gets wired in, and you will get to interact with a lot of industry mentors. So especially Sanjay, Ninad, and Shashank, Ignesh, and Vatsal. These are the 5 investors of 100x VC. So they are all well connected and well established within investor connections. So that, I mean, like, associating with them will give you a significant advantage. So while I was applying for Sterlite itself, Sterlite competition, I applied for their class 2. 100x VC has these classes or batches in which it invests at least 10 startups per class. So for class 2, we have applied, and we were in touch with Shashank from then on. Unfortunately, we didn't clear class 2, and then we were reaching out to different investors from then on. It happened in December 2019. So from then on, we were reaching out to different investors, and we didn't have any product in hand by then. We had a small prototype. So then we were working, and then March, say, there was COVID. So all the plans got changed. But we stick together with the Sterlite people. So we were working remotely, trying to do whatever we can do from home. So and then from August, we resumed. But in Beach May, from March to August, people started using drones for monitoring crowds. India brought very fast track regulation changes to accommodate that.
Mhm.
So there the adoption got like accelerated. So people suddenly realized that, okay, drones are a very good tool to monitor very large areas. So that kind of helped us. And also because now regulators also know that drones can be operated safely, and they also know that now what regulations have to be taken place, and bring whatever regulations and the exact regulations, because people were thinking that from government perspective, drones were same as Boeing 737s. That's what their view. They were they want to regulate it very, very heavily. But then in the COVID, they realized that it's not the case, and it's a very nascent industry, and they have to encourage it. So they relaxed regulations for different inspections and surveillances. So then from August, we resumed our product development. And then in November or so, Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, has announced to digitalize entire India's agricultural land. And he said he took out a policy to map agricultural land using drones. So, and he said to map only using drones, and then digitalize that and give Aadhaar card like of land card to people who own these agricultural lands. So there the pivot point was there. Okay, now the market, the timing is perfect for drones for adoption. If we start now, maybe in 1 to 2 years, the adoption grows. So then I pitched again to 100x VC, saying, okay, now the timing is right and we have product also, which is in MVP stage, and we have interacted with the client and we have tuned the product according to client needs. So then after 4-3 rounds, so we got selected. This was in November 2020. And then from December, our master classes started with 100x VC. So that's in short.
Yeah, so that sounds like really a perfect timing with what you have already described. And if we look at the startups, I think the most important success factor is always the timing. So,
Yeah.
so you mentioned about master classes. Like, how often these classes happen? What's the agenda in 100x VCs?
Okay, so they happen for 15 days maybe. So it's a very hectic now. At least one founder has to be there to attend these classes. So from team building to branding to media communications to business B2B sales, building a playbook, how to approach big organizations and how to approach small organizations. How should you strategize your product? And also, beach may investors come from different fields as mentors to take, and they will ask you for a 2 to 3 minute pitch, which goes for 20 minutes for 10 startups in the cohort. So they pitch, and then this 15 days is like you are just pitching your product in different ways, and you are asking different questions. So there is a lot of uncertainty when you start the startup, like which team to select and whether you need to hire only from IITs or how should you maintain the diversity in your team, and how to communicate your brand, especially in social media, how to reach out to different people, and how to maintain investor relations. So all those things are crammed up into this masterclass sessions. So for us, for PR session, we had Your Stories business head. So he kind of gave tips on how to communicate or maintain relationship with journalists, so that whenever you have a product announcement or whatever is happening in your industry, you can have quick access from them. So it's like a lot of mentoring session, which I think is not available when you go to other investors or other people. They might just give you money, and rest of the thing is you need to figure out. You need to ask them, okay, now you go and give me contact of this Your Story business editor, and then we'll talk. But here people are coming to you and then asking you to interact to them. It's like a platform kind of thing. Yeah, so after that we have 100x VC pitch day. So there investors from all over the world come onto the platform, and they'll see different sub 10 startups pitches, and they'll book a meeting if they like the pitch. So, and for that they will prepare you to pitch within 3 minutes. How can you pitch within 3 minutes, and what all to include according to your company, and how to communicate the timing. So that's the core focus of that 3-minute pitch. So once that happens, every startup gets introduction to at least 10 to 20 investors, and then we go on to raise our seed round. So depending on the startup stage.
So did you went through that round, or did you secure funding to that round as well?
Yeah, we are in currently right now we are raising our pre-seed round from angels, and also we have VC round in pending.
So you mentioned that the cost of hiring a pilot for drones is very high, and autonomous system is helping in reducing that cost. So have you run the mathematics by how much cost reduction can your idea go about?
Hmm. Well, 10 times at least. Um, if it is taking 10,000 rupees for you, it comes at 1,000 rupees. And it's a more of like an added benefit is that with automation, your safety is increased. So your plants or your processes are more insured now from the risk. So from a insurance point of view or from risk point of view, your risk got reduced, and you can now pay less premiums to the insurance companies because of the reduced risk. So that's one different cost saving that we found out, which was not accessible to us before. And yeah, I mean, going forward, there's a hell ton of automation when it comes to factories or plants, all to just reduce the risk and increase the safety. So yeah, I mean, as I said, 10 times faster, safer, and reliable.
So what are the incentives for the factories and companies to invest in the safety? Like, are they doing it for the regulations, or they want to do it to prevent their loss of capital eventually? So, and how incentivized they are to invest in these things? Can you give us an idea about that?
Yeah, they are very much incentivized actually. One is the regulatory compliance itself, and human loss or life loss is the major concern. It also damages the brand name of the company. And if some fatal thing happens, they have to shut down the plant for entire days, which uh, which like results in millions of dollars. I mean, like hundreds of millions of dollars loss for just 5 days or some like maybe 6 days. So and they are expected to pay for the damages to the government once that accident happens.
Okay, so now as let's take divergence from your startup and let's talk about your experience as an entrepreneur. Tell us few things you like about doing a startup and few things you dislike about doing a startup.
Few things I like a lot of things, but so to put it in simple way, it's challenging every day. So that I like. It makes you feel alive, maybe, if I want to say in a philosophical way. That you feel and you are constantly or under stress, which is good sometimes because you are learning every day. It's a new learning, and yeah, I mean, as a startup founder, I have to learn across domains, not just product or technology. I have to learn how to stay compliant with the government, what are the tax laws, and how to maintain team culture as a boss or as a person who team looks up to you, and then how to communicate and how to take decisions. I mean, in college I was very conservative person. I was not very outspoken, but coming into this field, I was forced to do that. I have to do that, or my startup may fail, or something might happen. So it forced me to change. So, and I feel that as a good factor to have something behind you to force you forward, especially for me, or else I will just sit back and relax. If there is nothing, I won't grow, and it helped me to grow. And also, we are creating value using our product. So, and I feel creating value is the greatest service you can do. So you create more value, and you the technology gets adopted, and you increase the standard of living with your technology or with your skills that you have procured. So kind of grateful, and also like, I mean, it's a mixed feeling. And that I don't like about startups is stereotyping a lot of startups, especially from Indian scenario. So people stereotype lot of things from startup perspective. Also, they say that you need to be very strong, you need to be very for a CEO you have to be like this, for a startup founder you have to be like this, you need to talk in such a way, and I mean, in I don't know, like I never felt that from my side. Um, but some people have stereotypes out there, even from investors' perspective, saying as a founder you need to communicate, you need to be bold, and you need to show some strong strength from you and all. Like there are there with which because of those stereotypes, we sometimes lose opportunities with some big people also. Because because we are just operating from India, some people think, okay, you can't beat with some Israeli companies or some USA companies. We are going through a lot, so some 2-3 cents of good words help us. That's my take on that.
And I think a lot of success in those countries depend on the amount of funding they get as well. So if investors are incentivized, then India might rather not even grow, even not have a chance if they don't have that kind of money which they are putting in those kind of countries. So that's also, I personally believe that. So
yeah, definitely, because on an average ticket size from a US company is very high, and compared to Indian scenario or some other counterparts. So I have some friends in Australia also. They say just to design a website and have some team members with you, and you're immediately granted some $150K to just start out your product and test it. So yeah, I mean the ecosystem plays a lot of role, but as an entrepreneur you need to find a way. So you are here, so deal with that. Simple as that.
Yeah. And coming about the nature, you sound a lot like Richard Hendricks from Silicon Valley, but eventually they figured their shit out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to figure the shit out, no matter where you are. I mean, the level of difficulties are same, so you need the same mindset.
Yeah. So I wish you a very good luck, and I think your idea is well on time. Your team is strong. Your tech is strong. You have invested in the skills which is required for you to succeed, and all of us wish your startup Vectros a very big success. And I hope we'll see you again among the top ones.
So yeah, I want to meet you, Shivank, personally, and we will have another live session, maybe in some cafeteria or some cafe. So then, yeah, definitely, and also I will invite you to fly a drone. I think you will like it.
It would be super exciting to see you set up here in US and have that kind of technology that you are spreading globally. That would be very exciting. Thank you for coming today on this episode. And to my viewers, I hope there is a lot to learn from this episode. It's a very new kind of domain, something different from SaaS. And I think SaaS field are getting a bit saturated. So you need to diverge into different kind of fields. And I think this is one of the very good examples. So I hope you like this video and see you in next episode.